Hi, I'm Barry Sahajian. This is Essential Bass Theory number 9, Music Theory for All Instruments as well. I will be using tetrachords in this theory lesson alongside of the traditional circle as well. This, in my opinion, is a much easier way to understand and get to know your theory a little easier, using a symmetrical shape and then apply it to your circle of fourths and fifths. That's the way I learned, and it really helps out, and I'd like to share that with you right now so I can show you another perspective of learning music theory that I think is very helpful. Traditionally, everyone uses the circle of fifths, and I did a little search so we can discuss the different ways that other people view it and understand it and teach it. So let's take a look here. As you can see, there's literally hundreds of them, I think. It's a never-ending list. So you have a wheel, and it resembles the clock, and that will be 12 o'clock, which would be C. And on this wheel, you have a G, D, A, E, B. Going to the right is a circle of fifths. And in here you have the relative minor, and you have the sharps, and that works good. It explains it pretty well, but, just to look at that for a first-time person studying theory is quite a lot to take in and can be confusing, and there's easier ways to learn this. Now the next one, this is the circle of fourth. It goes to the right with the flats instead of going to the left with the flats over here. And they just simply show you how many flats are sharps in each key. And that's pretty clear. That makes it a little easier because there's less information. We go on and on with different colors and different size lettering. And here's a circle of fourths with just the letters. Look at this one. This one is outrageous, all the different colors and everything. It's not. Now here is a hand-drawn one. Now I think this one is more understandable than any of the others, and this is most commonly done in all the tutorials I've seen, because you just a minimal amount of information, and it's easier to digest. So we go on and on. Look at this one. This one's right out there. A lot of information, and you got to look at it for a beginning musician studying theory. It works. And here's one that just has the letter names. Still confused? The circle of fifths explained, and they have it blurred. I would be curious to see that one, but I am going to explain another way to learn them with tetrachords. The tetrachords give you a symmetrical shape that's easier to relate to, and it works hand in hand with the circle of fifths, and that's the way I'm going to show you, and that's the way I learned. So they explain theory starting out with tetrachords. Now, don't get me wrong, the circle of fifths is still very important, but this is just another way to absorb theory a little quicker, I think, and it worked much better for me. When I got to the circle of fifths, it made it easier to understand that big circle with all the letters and all the sharps and flats and relative minors. So let's take a major scale. They take a major scale and use tetrachords, which makes the scale look symmetrical, and that right away is much easier to understand. We take the key of C, C, D, E, F. There's your lower tetrachord. Then you start from G, G, A, B, C. There's your upper tetrachord. You have a whole step, and a half step. And you have a whole step, and a half step again. So you see you have these two symmetrical shapes, and they are one step apart, but it goes up the scale. C, D, E, F is one shape, lower tetrachord. G, A, B, C is the upper tetrachord. Two whole steps and a half step. Now, what does that mean? I'll tell you what that means. This is how sharps and flats are added, by using tetrachords. So we have no sharps or flats in the key of C, okay? But you must notice between E and F and B and C, there's a half step. So this is the shape, whole, whole, half, then a hole in the middle, whole, whole, half. Let's add a new key. We're going to use the circle of fifths and add the G. Let's take a look at the circle for a second. This is my circle from Essential Bass Theory. So from C to G would be the first sharp key, a fifth away from C. Okay, back on to our display. Now, let's see what happens. We have a G, we have an A, that would be one whole step, a B, another whole step, and then a C, a half step. That's the lower tetrachord. No problem. There's still no sharps or flats, but we're in the key of G. Watch what happens on the upper tetrachord. That's where the change happens. So we have a D, then we have an E. That will be a whole step. Then we have another whole step, which would be an F sharp. Now you notice the F is sharped. We can't use an F natural because E to F is only a half step, and the tetrachord, the upper tetrachord, requires that it be a whole step. So then we have our G, which would be a half step. So whole step, G to A. Whole step, A to B. Half step, B to C. Okay, D to E. Whole step, E to F sharp. We have to sharp that F to make it work in the upper tetrachord. So that's how our first sharp was added. So let's add a new key. Let's go back to the circle and see what's next on the cycle of fifths. So we're going to look at that right now. And what do we have? We've already done C to G. That's a fifth. G is a fifth from C, C, D, E, F, G. Now we need a new key starting from G. Will be G, A, B, C, D. That would be our next key. And the key of D has two sharps. Now let's build that tetrachord and see what happens. So we have our first note in the key of D, which would be a D. We need to move a whole step to E. That would be our first whole step, a 1. And now we need a whole step from E, but that would be F sharp because it has to be a sharp. E to F sharp is a whole step. And then we have a G, which is a half step. So lower tetrachord is good. And we notice we have the first of two sharps in the lower tetrachord. Now let's go to the upper tetrachord. We have an A to a B. That would be a whole step. A B to a C sharp. There is your new sharp right there. A whole step from B. And then we have our D, which is a half step. Upper tetrachord, whole step from A to B. Whole step from B, have to sharp that C to make it work with the upper tetrachord in D. Third note of the lower tetrachord is your first sharp. Third note of your upper tetrachord is your second sharp. Key of D, two sharps, F sharp and C sharp. Let's add another key. Why not? We got plenty of keys to go. So over to our circle again. And we have, so far we've done C, G, D. We're going up to A, D, E, F sharp, G, A. That would be 5 notes. So here we have our A, and I'd like to point out one thing I'm going to refer back to is right here it says order of sharps. You can't see that, but the order of the sharps is developing as we go through each new key. F sharp was the first sharp in G, C sharp was the second sharp in the key of D, and G sharp would be the third sharp we're going to find when we do the tetrachords for the key of A. So we got A, first degree, to B. That will be a whole step. Perfect. Then we have a C sharp, which we already talked about in the lower tetrachord. And then we have a D, which would be a half step. A to B, whole step. B to C sharp, whole step. C sharp to D, half step. Whole step, half step, lower tetrachord. Okay, we start on E for the upper tetrachord. We need a whole step. That would be an F sharp, whole step. Now we need another whole step, which would be a G sharp, whole step, and then we need our A, half step. So we have whole step, half step, E to F sharp to G, G sharp to A. There you have it. Lower tetrachord has 1 sharp, upper tetrachord has 2 sharps, total of 3 sharps. Now I'd like to show you something about the sharps that we add, and we're going back to our circle, which is right here. Now take a look at this line I have right here. I'd like to explain what that is. So we have 7 keys, 7 sharp keys, going from G to C sharp over here. G and C sharp. Then you see that the sharps continue right here. They keep going around the circle. Well, those are the sharps that would be in the sharp keys, and they start from the F sharp right here. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sharps. These are the sharps that go in the 7 sharp keys. Let's build our 2 tetrachords in the key of E. E, first degree, to F sharp. 1. F sharp to G sharp, whole step again. G sharp to A half step. There's your lower tetrachord. Notice that there's an F sharp and a G sharp. 2 of the sharps, 2 out of 4 sharps in the key of E are included in the lower tetrachord. Okay, now we have B, whole step up to C sharp. That's 1 whole step. To D sharp, that's a whole step. To E is your half step. Once again, whole step, half step. Whole step, half step on the lower tetrachord and the upper tetrachord. Now we have our 4 sharps. F sharp, G sharp, C sharp, and D sharp. There's our 2 tetrachords in the key of E. Having said that, I'd like to stop right here because I really believe you can't do it all in one session, and I'm going to go and continue on these sessions with the circle of fifths and theory at least 2 times a week. This only works when you continuously review this and relate it in different ways and then apply it to your music. I'm going to go into songwriting with this and analyzing songs and really show you how to use it. I have a new student and he said to me, "How do you use this?" Well, first of all, you have to learn it and then apply it. When you apply it, you start to see little by little. Then it becomes a part of your musical personality to do things correctly, and not only correctly, simplify it for your mind. Although it seems complicated, this will simplify your understanding of music in many different ways. I know that may be hard for people to see in the initial stages of learning theory, but that's definitely the way it is. For me, it opened up a whole new world of understanding and made things so much more simple to work in music in numbers of ways. If you like this video, please subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified of the new videos yet to come. Comment and like. Hang around. I hope to see you next time. I'm going to continue this on, and I will get you up to speed on knowing theory and being a better musician. So see you next time.